You're watching Luntha TV and it's time for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandi Wemzamara, but first the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges ceasefire in Sudan, condemns post-election violence in Tanzania. Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Lilongwe adjourns Panga Wooden case to Tuesday as bail ruling awaits. Speaker of Parliament Samir Solomon warns lazy parliamentary committee leaders of replacement. And in other news, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan takes office after deadly election violence. We do have the details to these stories and more. Just stay with us. Pope Leo XIV issued urgent appeals for peace and humanitarian access in Sudan and Tanzania on Sunday, decrying escalated violence that has left civilians dead and aid blocked in parts of Africa. After leading the Angelus in St. Peter's Square, the Holy Father condemned indiscriminate violence against women and children, attacks on unarmed civilians, and serious obstacles to humanitarian aid, and called for an immediate ceasefire and the opening of humanitarian corridors. We have more details in this Catholic News Agency report read by Patrick Pooper.
Pope Leo XIV expressed great sorrow over tragic news coming from Sudan, especially from the city of El Fasher in the war-torn region of North Darfur, renewing his heartfelt appeal to all parties involved to agree to a ceasefire and to urgently open humanitarian corridors. He then urged the international community to act with determination and generosity to support relief efforts. Turning to Tanzania, the Pope expressed sadness over deadly clashes following recent elections, encouraging citizens to avoid all forms of violence and to follow the path of dialogue. Area before the recitation of the Angelus, the Pope reflected on the meaning of All Souls' Day, telling the faithful that the resurrection of the crucified Jesus from the dead sheds light on the destiny of each one of us. Quoting from the Gospel of John, he said, "This is the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given me, but raise it up on the last day." From this, the Pope expressed the focus of God's concerns is clear, that no one should perish forever, and that everyone should have their own place and radiate their unique beauty. He linked this hope to the previous day feast of All Saints, calling it a communion of differences that extends God's life to all his daughters and sons who wish to share in it. Citing Pope Benedict XVI, he described eternal life as a being so immersed in an ocean of love that time before and after no longer exist. Concluding his reflection, the Pope invited Christians to live this day as a remembrance fired with hope.
Chief Resident Magistrate Austin Banda in Lilongwe has adjourned to Tuesday morning, the 4th of November, the hearing of the case involving 11 people accused of engaging in violent acts that occurred in May this year in Imponeladoa district. The adjournment came after a lengthy session in which both the prosecution and defense presented their arguments on bail application filed by the accused persons. Magistrate Banda said the court would deliver its ruling on the bail request on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, citing the need for more time to carefully consider the submissions. Judith Ogan was at the court and she reports.
The state is pushing for the suspect to remain in police custody until the trial concludes, urging that releasing them could jeopardize the administration of justice. However, the defense maintains that bail is a constitutional right and that the prosecution has failed to provide that freeing the accused would interfere with justice. Earlier, 14 suspects appeared before the court, with 11 of them standing trial on 5 serious charges, including assault and malicious damage of property, all of which they deny. The group is accused of touching a Toyota Quantum registration number, RU 7197, on May 11, 2025, an allegation they have all denied. In the second count, they are alleged to attack Alex Wally with a knife, an act they also denied. The third count relates to the destruction of a Nissan hardboard registration number PE84 with damages estimates of 550,000 Malawi kwacha. All 11 suspects denied responsibilities. The fourth and fifth counts involved alleged unlawful assault on Felix Nazingamba and George Matai, respectively, charges the accused have again denied. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Organ.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Samir Solomon MP, has warned that he will not hesitate to facilitate changes in parliamentary committee leadership if members display laziness instead of commitment and hard work. Solomon made the remarks in Lilongwe during the opening of a 2-day orientation workshop for members of parliament aimed at equipping them with knowledge on how parliamentary committees operate. Both the UNDP Deputy Resident Representative, Dr. Chika Charles Onigwe, and the Speaker described parliamentary committees as the engine of Parliament, emphasizing their vital role in ensuring effective oversight and legislative work. Robert Edward was there and he reports.
Chambers are for debate, but real parliamentary work is done in committees where in-depth scrutiny of evidence and issues is done. New cohort of the lawmakers have since been advised to fully understand their roles in the committees, as it is said to be where citizens' voices are amplified and power of the executive is subjected to accountability. The orientation to equip the members with such information is currently underway in Lilongwe, where during its official opening, Speaker of Parliament Samia Suleiman says there will be no time for compliances, beginning with chairpersons of the committees.
These are the engine room of Parliament, and for us to have an effective Parliament, we need to have effective committees. They are the hub. They are the ones that do most of the work of for Parliament, especially on oversight, even legislation committees like the Legal Affairs Committee. They are the key to the bills and the legislation process of our work.
On his part, Deputy Resident Representative for the United Nations Development Program, UNDP in Malawi, Dr. Chika Charles Onigwe, said effectiveness of Parliament relies on the effectiveness of its committees.
I think for us, it's one of the key cardinal points in terms of moving Parliament forward. And I think that's one of the key points I made in my speech. We see this orientation as a way of enhancing the capacity of the old members that are there, but also a way of building the capacity of the new members to know about the procedure, the process, but also to know about the expectations of the Parliament from Malawi people.
The orientation is expected to take 2 days before the members reconvene in the chamber on Wednesday. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
Political analyst Caesar Kondoe has commended President Professor Peter Mutharika for directing cabinet ministers to submit monthly reports outlining verifiable achievements, saying the move demonstrates commitment to transparency and performance-based governance. Kondowe made the remarks in reaction to the president's address during the swearing-in ceremony of cabinet ministers held in Lilongwe on Sunday, where Mutharika emphasized the need for concise, fact-based reports from each minister. Charity Chilanga has more details in this report.
Kondowe said the president's instruction is a welcome development that will enhance accountability among cabinet members and help track progress on key government programs. He added that the requirement for factual reports will serve as a performance review too, ensuring that ministers focus on tangible results that benefit Malawians rather than personal engagement. Kondowe, however, advised the president to establish independent mechanisms to verify the authenticity of the reports, noting that some submissions might exaggerate achievements. He further proposed that the reports be made public to allow citizens to assess and debate ministerial performance.
A clear directive regarding the monthly report produced by the cabinet minister, and he emphasized that a one-page fact findings concise report is needed. This is very important in as far as transparency is concerned.
During the swearing-in ceremony, President Mutharika stressed that ministers must submit concise evidence-based reports every month, outlining what they have accomplished in their respective ministries.
Let me remind you that no nation can prosper where corruption thrives. Corruption robs citizens of hospitals, schools, and clean water, among others. Corruption weakens institutions, scares off investors, and erodes our moral fabric. Therefore, I will not tolerate any corruption.
Among other things, the president urged the newly appointed cabinet ministers to serve Malawians with integrity, diligence, and humility as they take on their new roles in government. He reminded the officials that their appointments were not a reward, but a call to duty, emphasizing that each of them holds a vital advisory and executive role in the administration of state affairs.
Gender activist and Women's Manifesto coordinator Maggie Banda has expressed deep concern over the glaring gender imbalance in the newly appointed cabinet. Banda said the underrepresentation of women in the 24-member cabinet, which has only 7 women, undermines efforts to achieve gender equality and inclusive governance in the country. The announcement of the full cabinet was made last week, some of whose members were sworn in on Sunday. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
Speaking with Luntha TV, Maggie Banda said that while they applauded the president for appointing women, giving them key positions, the overall gender balance in the cabinet still fell short of Malawi Gender Equality Act, which stipulates that public appointments should have no more than 60% and no less than 40% of either gender. Banda also noted that the ruling Democratic Progressive Party DPP did not provide an audience to discuss Women's Manifesto. However, she pointed out that the party's own manifesto includes provisions on gender equality. Section 11, subsection 1 of Malawi's constitution stipulates that an appointing or recruiting authority in the public service shall appoint no less than 40% and no more than 60% of either sex in any department of the public service. Meanwhile, Banda has applauded the appointment of Melena Vicha as Minister of Gender, saying she is someone the group had previously worked with and was willing to collaborate with NGOs to achieve shared goals. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center. We'll be back with more right after this short break.
2025 Malawi Alternative Mining Indaba AMI is here. Norwegian Church Aid, Dan Church Aid NCADCA Malawi, Evangelical Association of Malawi EAM, Malawi Economic Justice Network Merging, Malawi Council of Churches MCC and Action Aid have together organized a national alternative mining Indaba from Tuesday the 4th November to 5th November 2025 at Crossroads Hotel in Lilongwe. The event will be held under the theme Power to the People, Owning Malawi's Future. The Indaba aims to provide a platform for mining communities, civil society organizations, government officials, policy makers, academia, mining companies, and other stakeholders to come together and work towards promoting sustainable mining. It will also facilitate dialogue and development of strategies to strengthen transparency, accountability, and promote sustainable mining in the sector. For more, contact Mr. Mwai Sandram on 0881 347 082 or Mrs. Lusungu Mangochi on 0999 654 658 or Mr. Mike Mervyn Banda on 0999 920 107. 2025 Malawi Alternative Mining Indaba AMI in Lilongwe.
Welcome back, and for those that are just joining us, know that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandy Wimzamara. Before we proceed, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges ceasefire in Sudan, condemns post-election violence in Tanzania. Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Lilongwe adjourns Panga Wooden case to Tuesday as bail ruling awaits. Speaker of Parliament Samir Solomon warns lazy parliamentary committee leaders of replacement. And in other news, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan takes office after deadly election violence. Proceeding with the news, agriculture expert Felix Jumbe has urged the Tobacco Commission to enhance its organization and professionalism, stressing that tobacco remains one of Malawi's major sources of foreign exchange and economic stability. Making the sentiments in reaction to the Tobacco Commission's decision to extend the 2025-2026 grower licensing period, Jumbe said the Commission must improve its operational systems to ensure that tobacco farmers produce the right quantities and quality demanded on the global market. He went on to observe that the Commission is still hoarding a large number of unsold tobacco bills, a situation he describes as a setback for both farmers and the national economy. Emmanuel Jocha has more details in this report.
According to spokesperson for Tobacco Commission, Delphorus Chigwenembe, the registration extension followed observation that some farmers were unable to register earlier as they were still selling their tobacco.
We have extended the licensing period to allow all farmers to get licensed. We don't want any farmer to grow tobacco without a license, because doing so is illegal.
Commenting on the matter, agriculture expert Felix Jumbe has emphasized the need for the Commission to develop a clear strategic plan to guide its activities and offer consistent support to farmers throughout the production and marketing period. Jumbe added that while the extension of registration for tobacco growers from October 30 to November is welcome, it will only yield results if accompanied by proper coordination and accountability.
The Tobacco Commission, I think we should be fair to tell them that there's been a lot of redundant people working at the Tobacco Control Commission. Up to this very day, as we are saying, it's now tobacco occupying the smallholder fertilizer revolving fund warehouses when they were supposed to be stocking fertilizer. This is a spillover of the redundancy that had happened from last year.
It is the law of the Tobacco Commission to take proactive steps in addressing operational challenges. The recent development has the ability to restore farmers' confidence and ensure tobacco continues to play a vital role in driving economic growth.
Now in entertainment news, Tumaini Letu Programs Coordinator Bryce Jawia has described this year's Tumaini Festival as the best edition to date, despite a few logistical challenges that affected the event's schedule. Jawia acknowledged that while some performances had to be cancelled or delayed due to the late start of the program, the festival still drew an impressive turnout, exceeding the organizers' expectations. He added that the strong attendance and vibrant atmosphere demonstrated continued public support for the festival's mission of promoting unity, culture, and talent through arts. Fales Chizombe has more details.
Jawia commended all artists who performed and the audience who came from within Nzaleka, Lilongwe, and even outside the country for their overwhelming support. He also appreciated the collaboration among partners who stepped in to assist where needed, such as Groove 100 FM and Kigali Events Center, among others, urging that the same spirit should continue in future editions of the festival. He encouraged those who have never attended the Tumaini Festival to do so next year, promising an even more exciting lineup of artists, performances, and activities.
Yes, Tumaini Festival will continue. Tumaini Festival will be there next year. We promise that we'll try our best to have a very good lineup as well, and also improve some of the things that we have some of the lessons that we have learned in this festival. We faced a few challenges logistically, but all in all, everything has gone well, and we hope that next year will be better and stronger.
Among the standout performers was Loiso, who energized the stage with his song Tiingalule. Other notable artists included Sean Morgan, JJC, Joe Kels, Driemo, Amid Alan, Lady Aika, Sif Malawi, and Brace, whose hit song Conqueror thrilled the audience. The festival also featured Apama Arts from Zimbabwe, who impressed the crowd with their unique cultural dance performances. Beyond the music, this year's Tumaini Festival introduced new experiences such as yoga sessions, a children's corner, theater and drama performances, and fashion workshops, where designers exchanged ideas on developing the industry. The 3-day event, which ran from Thursday 30th October to Saturday 1st November, was described as inspiring and empowering, especially for the youth and refugees at the camp, encouraging them not to limit themselves, but to keep their dreams alive. As artist Amid Alan said during his performance, good things happen to those who don't give up.
Makaiza mini mafuna mugamali migira pena bage mabizero mwakomuda ina ko mafuna musiye then kafuna kuli zimenezo zilani zite kuli migira samalani samasiya.
Held under the theme Rising with Resilience, a tribute to hope, recovery, and overcoming challenges, the 11th edition of the Two Mind Festival once again proved to be a powerful celebration of culture, creativity, and unity. The festival brought together more than 100 acts from Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and within the Dzaleka refugee camp. Reporting for Luntha News, I am Fales Chizombe.
Now in news from across the border, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been sworn into office today, Monday, for her first elected term after winning a landslide victory in an election that set off deadly protests across the country. Hassan, who came to power in 2021 following the death in office of her predecessor John Magufuli, was declared the winner of last week's election with 97.66% of the vote. We have more details in this Reuters report read by Patrick Popper.
Wearing a red headscarf and dark glasses, Samia Suluhu Hassan took the oath of office at a ceremony on a military base in the administrative capital, Dodoma. Hassan, 65, ran against only candidates from the minor parties after her main challenges from the two biggest opposition parties were disqualified from the race. Violent protests erupted during last Wednesday voting, with some demonstrators setting fire to government buildings and police firing tear gas and gunshots, according to witnesses. The main opposition party said hundreds of people had been killed in the protest, while the UN Human Rights Office said credible reports indicated at least 10 people were killed in 3 cities. The government dismissed the opposition's death toll as hugely exaggerated. Reuters could not independently verify casualty figures.
And that's about what we had time for in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges ceasefire in Sudan, condemns post-election violence in Tanzania. Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Lilongwe adjourns Panga Wielding case to Tuesday as bail ruling awaits. Speaker of Parliament Samir Solomon warns lazy parliamentary committee leaders of replacement. And in other news, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan takes office after deadly election violence. My name is Tandi Wenzumara. Thank you so much for keeping me company, and continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Remember that you can catch these and many other stories on our Facebook page. We are on Luntha Television, and on YouTube we're at Luntha TV Official. Goodbye for now, and do stay safe.
(2025) Malawi Alternative Mining Endeavor AMI is here. Norwegian Church Aid, Dan Church Aid NCADCA Malawi, Evangelical Association of Malawi EAM, Malawi Economic Justice Network Merging, Malawi Council of Churches MCC, and Action Aid have together organized a national alternative mining endeavor from Tuesday, the 4th November to 5th November 2025 at Crossroads Hotel in Lilongwe. The event will be held under the theme Power to the People, Owning Malawi.